Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World. And in this video, we're going to talk about a really hot topic, I would say, and that is the tier list. So basically, I will just try to go over my tier list that you see here on screen, that you can also see on my spreadsheet, obviously. And we're going to go over the different tiers and the different units, and I'm going to say why I rank them a certain way. Obviously, guys, this is there will be people that will disagree with it. I will try to be as quick as possible and give my explanations, but obviously I cannot cover 100% of it. Otherwise, this video will be more than 50 minutes long. So I just want to be as brief as possible. If you disagree with any of the rankings, please let me know in the comments down below so that we can also have some sort of discussion to understand why. And if you have any kind of, let's say, proof or whatever that you saw people using a certain unit that I might call like garbage in this video, please let me know, send me the screenshots, and I will also share the updates with everyone and accordingly edit my tier list. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention. I also have a few more things that I want to say before starting. And the first one is that I will try to create a new tab in the near future. I don't know, it will take me some days because now there is also the collab, so I will be quite busy covering that. I will want to create a new tab in my spreadsheet where I will put a sort of tier list, but floor based. So like for floor 27, stage 1 to 20, as an example, the core units that will help you the most are X, Y, Z. The units that will help you but not too much are other units, etc. So more focused on units that are used in certain floors. And then we can also see like over the course of multiple weeks, months, etc., where more and more floors will be cleared and more people give suggestions to the units that are recommended in those stages. We will have also a clear overview of which units are more worth investing. Because if we see that a unit is used only in like 3 floors, then it's not really that worthwhile. But if we see that a unit is used like in 10 floors, 15 floors, whatever, we can say, okay, that unit is quite solid. So that's my next idea, I would say. And that's one thing I wanted to mention. The other things that I also wanted to say are related to the tier list made by the other sites or also other content creators. Well, actually, I will just talk about the sites. I'm not going to talk about the content creators, guys. So for the sites, if we look at Pridewin, there is one thing that I want to be clear, like for all of you guys, and it's this one. They are supposedly ranking SSR Plus units at blue tier. That's definitely not true, guys. Like anyone with a minimum of common sense would know that this is not the case at all. If you take a 3 blue Evankel and you want to tell me she's on par with Hiwa or Akin, no, that's no. She's like here, B tier, and max, at max. So really, don't be baited by this. This is totally stupid. And Urek is the same. Is not S tier, a 3 blue, is again at best B. Because those units are just going to die. It doesn't make any sense. They're not going to do any amount of useful damage because they'll be dead. So it's stupid. I can kind of agree with Viol. Probably a 3 blue, it would be in S tier, but still it's quite accurate. Then obviously I'm not mentioning Evan, I'm not mentioning Karaka, I'm not mentioning Zahard and Datamashini. Those units are really, really great at blue tier already. But the DPS units, no, not all of them at least. The close range one, not for sure. This guy, not S tier for sure. Probably more B, I would say low A max. But we're going to go over my tier list in a second. It's just to tell you guys, don't be fooled by this. Because Pridewin way of ranking the SSR Plus units is wrong. If you're expecting a blue tier SSR plus like Rachel to be A tier? No, no way. It's easier for Ren to be A tier than it is for Rachel, but whatever. It's just to tell you guys, beware that this premise here, this criteria is wrong. So that's it. For the tier list on .gg.gg, it's quite the opposite. In this case, I don't think it's written in the FAQ, if I'm not mistaken. There should be, it should be mentioned that is like considering every single unit at full rainbow and fully maxed, basically. So in that case, that's more accurate, but be aware that these SSR Plus are ranked at full investment. Those are just the two things I wanted to mention. Probably I wasted too much time here. So I will just get straight to my own tier list. And for my tier list, you will see that I divided it in 3 different columns. I also want to review a bit how to structure this because it's not really that clear probably. A lot of you guys will have trouble with this, I'm sure, but yeah, whatever. I divided it in mandatory, recommended, and nice to have. To me, mandatory is the minimum amount of investment that the unit needs to have to be even considered. Okay. Recommended is the minimum amount of investment a unit needs to perform as it should, basically. And then nice to have is just almost fully maxed. So these are the differences. If you're still wondering what is what and what this BAM is at mandatory, you can just go to the other tabs and you will see everything that is red is mandatory. So like BAM would be ranked at 3 blue, Cheonwa would be ranked at 3 red, Compressed Rack at 3 red, etc. So it differs from unit to unit. But you can see that mandatory is the least amount of investment required for the unit to be even considered. Not usable, because a lot of them won't be usable, but considered at the very least. Recommended is when you can actually get the most out of it, like out of that unit for that amount of investment, for an acceptable amount of investment. And nice to have is just how the unit is as almost max investment, basically. So that being said, I will just briefly go over all the units. I'm going to say a few things, or I will just say that unit is garbage, don't even consider it, okay? And this tier list is going to be focused on adventure, okay? I'm not going to talk about PvP, I'm not going to talk about boss fights, mainly because to me adventure is the most important part on this game. If you're not a low spender or a whale, PvP is not going to be for you. And I mean it in a way to say like, you're not going to be able to compete with them in any way possible, okay? So for you, PvP is just a way to get resources. And most of the units that are good in adventure are also good in PvP. So, okay, that's more of like an additional thing. And I'm not also going to talk about boss fights because it's pretty much the same if you want to rank at the top and get like the borders or those kind of reviews or rewards, sorry, not reviews. That is more or less like spender territory. As a free-to-play is really, really difficult unless in your server there is like no one spending, and then okay, sure. But still, it's something that I don't really care that much about. If you're not like in a guild that's competing for the top spots in the Alliance Expedition boss, or you're not someone that's really into PvP, I don't care. Or bosses for that matter. Like if you're not competitive, you don't care about how you rank compared to others, it won't really matter. And also the rewards you get in the bosses for clearing more of it is really not that impactful. Like the suspendium you get is minimal. The amount of gear you get, you reach a certain point where you will just have so many pieces, it's really irrelevant. And it will help you more to have higher links than it is to have certain units. You will still get some of them here and there, but you will see that a lot of units that are good in bosses are terrible in adventure. And I would say, if you're free to play, skip them. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but that's just my opinion. That's why I'm just going to talk about adventure. So, okay, I already wasted too much time. So let's get straight to it. So BAM at mandatory is like 3 blue. Is just good, but not that crazy, obviously. He's going to have lower scaling. He's going to just give a 60% attack and defense buff, 150 energy, stuff like that. So obviously, he is a bit lower, but still quite a solid unit. He doesn't need as much investment as others. And obviously, it gets better when you get him to 3 red or Rainbow 5. Rainbow 5 is actually debatable, to be fair. I think I wrote it here. Yes. So there is a delay on the attack and debuff and defense buff that he provides if you have him at Rainbow 5, because he's going to cast the special skill pretty much when he should use the buff, and he's going to delay it by like 10 seconds or so. It will depend a lot on different scenarios. There are times where that skill would have been interrupted anyway. So to me, Rainbow 5 is still better, but I could see the case for like an orange 4 being more than enough, or a rainbow 4 being more than enough. So be aware of that. Still, I think it won't change much, to be honest. Cheonwa, again, not going to mention. That guy is garbage in Adventure. You're not going to use him, so let's skip. Compressed Rack was just released recently. That guy is a great unit. Don't get me wrong. I ranked him as A+, but if I were to say you should pull him before Child Endorse and Kuran, I would not agree with that. The main problem is that this guy is yellow. So for yellow, you already have Hiwa, and you won't need Compressed Rack like anytime soon, in my opinion. He's not someone you should prioritize over other units. He is definitely good. He kind of lacks in survivability. So yeah, it will depend like in which compositions you would use him. He's definitely good. He can deal a ton of damage, but I still have my doubts on him. I used him a bit in floor like 33. There were stages where he just did a ton of damage, even if he was in a link that was 20 levels lower than Hiwa. And I'm mostly using him with the Hiwa team as a sub DPS. There was one time when I used him in a different team as a carry. It didn't go that well, to be fair. So yeah, that's why I'm a bit doubtful. But damage-wise, if you can make him work, he's definitely at the very least A+. Let me also know what you're experiencing with your experiences with him. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in this ranking. Then we have Data Urek. This guy is trash until you get him to at the very least orange 4. So the mandatory one, I think it's 3 blue, probably, or even less. Yeah, 3 blue, garbage. Orange 4 is fine. I have him at 3 purple, so I cannot guarantee it personally. But orange 4, I can see it being the case that he can survive. He has nice scaling, so the damage is okay. And he has a lot of HP, so with the right resistances, he can get to the point where he can at least cast a special skill. And after that, everything is fine. But the reason why he's only A is because he could die. When you get him to Rainbow 5, he's definitely S tier. He's going to cast the special skill almost immediately. He's going to survive for sure. And he's going to keep destroying the enemy team. So you really want that additional 500 energy for him. And yeah. Next one is Eden. Eden at 3 green, I think is. Yeah, 3 green. Is kind of meh. B is probably fine. You can use him in the scenario that is good at, and that is against ranged units. If you are against a full range team, this guy is a monster because obviously his domain can protect from ranged attacks. But that's pretty much everywhere you would want to use him. He's also good in bosses, but again, as I said, I'm not going to talk about boss fights. So yeah, it could be useful, but not in the current meta, to be fair. Because you see a lot of Evankel, you see a lot of Zahard, you see a lot of Urek, and he sucks against all of them, basically. So yeah, that's it. Evan is awesome and no dupes. His S obviously gets is monstrous at Rainbow 5. I should probably rank it like S here. Recommended, what's recommended here? Nothing as far as dupes are concerned. Nothing here as well. Yes, just the plus 30. Okay, I could see why it would get better with the plus 30. Okay, let's leave it like this. It makes sense. Fine. But this one at that point should be S++. I don't know, guys. Just take it this way. Evan is just a monster. That's it. But you probably don't want to invest too much in him. That's it. Okay. That being said, next we have Go-Sang. She's good. I oftentimes use her as well. She provides a good buff to Iwa or Viol. Depends. I used them both at times. To just help cast the special skill that 1 second faster, 1-2 seconds faster. That's more than enough at times to just wipe the enemy team. And that's already good once you have her at 3 red. I think C plus is not 3 red. Sorry, mandatory is not 3 red, but I could be mistaken. No, it's already 3 red. So really there is no change, to be fair. I will just adjust the ranking. She's B. Once you have her at 3 blue, sorry, 3 red. But maybe... Okay. It makes sense. C plus is fine because it's just an additional buff. If you also give her the plus 30 excluded equipment, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. There are better units to give it first. But if you do, then she's going to give the buff to the whole team instead of only the carry. But most of the times, the carry is the one you want to buff. So the mandatory tier is more than enough. Gray is also a good unit. The main problem is that she's too squishy, and most of the time she will just die at high deficit without being able to fear the enemies. Unless you take her to plus 20 exclusive equipment, which you don't necessarily want to do, and give her some more defenses and HP in the ignition weapon. If you do, okay, she's probably better, but overall, I wouldn't rank her higher than C plus even then. So yeah. But still, you can use her at times. She comes in handy, but not as impactful as you would hope. Gietang, to be fair, I could even rank him lower now that we have compressed rack. This guy is garbage. I wouldn't use him. Again, if you disagree, let me know. But yeah. Hats is one of those units that was great in the early game. Now is complete garbage. Even with resistances, I think is just going to suck. That's all. Okay. Rack could be maybe even higher. Is going to provide the physical and magic resistance buff to the whole team. But still, I don't really use him, and I don't see anyone using him, to be fair. So that's why it's still only B, but it could be used at times. Definitely a better tank than that'll work. Shibisu, only boss fights, ignore him, fine. Vespa with no investment, she can at least, he, whatever, can at least survive for 1 to 2 seconds, and again, at times that's enough for Eva to cast a special skill. So that's why this unit is used as a stall tank. This unit get better with more dupes and more investment, but just minimal, I would say. So yeah, maximum an A, but probably even then, I'm not using Vespa anymore. So yeah, I cannot recommend her. I would probably even lower the ranking now, because really there are not that many scenarios where you would say, yeah, I kind of feel like I need Vespa. No. An A to me is a ranking that you give to a unit that you can actually use at times. So let's just lower it. Let's just say B+. Wangnan is the same as Gitang, completely useless now that we have compressed rack, I would say. So yeah, ignore him. Hiwayon with 3 red I would say is pretty safe. She can at least survive quite easily. So yeah, to me, A is reasonable with just 3 red. Then she gets a beast once you have her at 5 rainbow. Nice to have. I think it's just minor things. It won't change much. She's just a beast, and that's okay. Then we have Dorsey. You will see her at A across the board, regardless of the amount of investment. And that's because of the use case I use her for. So to me, it doesn't really matter how much investment she has. She's only there to buy 1 to 2 seconds for the team and group the enemy team a little bit at the start of the battle. That's all she's used for. Now with Rihanna and with enough investment, she could be also some sort of backline killer. Definitely not at the level of Kiseiya. That's why she's not A plus. But if you have more experience with her, if any one of you guys have her invested and you're using her and she can actually kill the backline, let me know. I might update the ranking and bring it like up to the Kiseiya one, so A plus. I wouldn't rate her any higher, to be fair, but yeah. Okay, then we have Ghost. That guy is just a weaker version of Karaka. You could use him with Rachel, but Rachel. So yeah, Ghost, just skip him. It's fine. You don't need him. Gustang, you will be surprised by how much damage this guy can actually deal when you get him to 3 red. So I think here should be recommended pretty much. Yeah, recommended. There are like stages where he dealt more damage than my Joaquin, and I didn't give him a good ignition weapon set. It just has a random Runda set with like a +12 and 2+8, and that's it. So the fact that he managed to deal more damage than my Joaquin, being like also 20 links lower, it was crazy. I will share it with you guys probably in the following days after the collab videos are done, etc. I will probably make a video on like clear floor 31, 32, and 33, stuff like that. In floor 33, there will be a couple of fights, probably even 3 or 4, where he dealt more damage than Joaquin. That would be really funny. But yeah, it's definitely not a unit to sleep on, and he might deserve A plus also here at the recommended tier. We'll see later on. Joaquin, probably A 3 red is too high, to be honest, and also S plus is quite weird. I will stick to it just because this guy is the second best SSR DPS, so he deserves that ranking. But definitely compared to Hiwa, is way more RNG. There are fights where it's just going to explode, and there are fights where for some reason it's just surviving every hit and destroying everyone. But it's just really, really random. Also, I feel like purple overall is the most solid element, but it's also the one that I find myself using against the weakest team most of the times. When like where there are really difficult units to deal with, I never use my purple team. I use my purple team against enemies that can just be killed, they're squishy, they don't have any sort of invincibility or stuff. So yeah, kind of strange to be honest. It has really like purple really has solid units, but I don't think it's the strongest element, to be honest. It could also be that my Kiseiya is not invested in, so I'm struggling a bit more because of that, but yeah, okay. Then we have Karaka. Karaka, no investment, is really awesome. He's a great tank, has a lot of utility for your team, so A plus is well deserved. It gets better with more dupes and with more investment in like ignition weapon, etc. So for sure, it gets a lot tankier. And it could also deal some damage. Nothing crazy, not Gustang level, and definitely not Joaquin level, but still, he could do his job. Then we have Kunagero. Kunagero 3 blue is quite weak. 3 red is already fine. He has the passives on. He can do what he needs to do. But for him, probably recommended would be the Rainbow 5. I moved it to nice to have because most of the supports I follow the same logic. So 3 blue mandatory, 3 red recommended, and Rainbow 5 nice to have. But this guy really gets a lot from the Rainbow 5 because when you cast his special skill, it's just going to stun a lot of units, and that stun is really, really good. So he's definitely S once you have him at Rainbow 5. Kiseiya is an awesome unit. Now with the Rihanna, you can guarantee that she's going to kill at the very least 1 unit. So she's definitely a great unit. I think mandatory is 3 red. So 3 red, let me see here. Yeah, 3 red is already quite solid. You can use her without any problems. But then obviously, if you invest more in the ignition weapon, if you invest more in the exclusive equipment, etc., she's going to get better. That's why she gets from B plus to A plus, because you also have to take into account that in mandatory, she's not going to have a lot of pieces of ignition weapon maxed. That's what I'm also ranking. Like if you see here, Kiseiya is just slot 1 plus 20. Everything else doesn't matter. So you can imagine that she will be a lot stronger once you max also slot 4 and slot 5. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason why. And I would actually say, wait a second. For the ignition weapons of Kiseiya, slot 2 is slot 3 for what she needs to do is just nice to have, I would say. Yes. Let's do it this way. Makes more sense. Okay. Enough for that. So Kiseiya, really solid unit. She can destroy a backline enemy. So really, really helpful. I'm investing more on her because I don't have her really that well invested. Then we have Lurker. That guy is garbage. Skip. Then we have Machini. She is more or less a weaker version of Eden, if you ask me. I gave her the same rating because she has more AoE, in my opinion, and also more constant crowd control than Eden. But the problem is that Eden at least has one use case where it really shines, and that is against full range enemy comps. Machini doesn't have that. So, but still, if you have an SSR plus of Rainbow 5, it's really difficult for that unit to be less than A+, other than one specific scenario. But yeah, still, she's good. She deals a lot of damage. Only I wouldn't focus on her. There are way better SSR plus units. Nare, now that we have Gustang, is just not really used. I didn't use her for like forever. So yeah, I'm just going to skip her. Prince, never used him. I think he's garbage. Let me know what you guys think, but I don't think you can use Rihanna, if I'm not mistaken, so pretty garbage. Rachel, again, there is the real one hidden here. I don't even want to show it. It should be like B, mandatory, B plus, A, something like that. But guys, please don't be the guy that's building Rachel. That's all I want to say. Then we have Verdi. She's only for bosses, so for me it's a skip. Then let's go over to red. I will try to speed up a bit, guys. Amigo Charts is not tanky enough. He cannot survive, so to me is B at max. Anak, again, quite weak. She's good in the enemy teams in adventure when she is over your link level by a ton. She's 4 times your CP. Then sure, she's good. She can kill your highest attack unit, but if you are using her, no. For me, she's a no. It doesn't really make any sense. Apple, great for bosses. Yeah, kind of. And for adventure, you could use her here and there at times to reduce the evasion of the enemies, but really not that necessary. Acraptor is one of the other weird units. I would probably rank him the same way as Compressor, so I would probably give him an A+ as well. The issue with Acraptor is that Viol is way better. And when you could still use him if you're free to play, because you will need to red team DPSs. So sure, you can run Acraptor is a worthwhile unit, but the time you get an Evankel to even like Orange 4, which is not really low for free to play, but at that point she's already better than Acraptor. So it will stop being used sooner or later. And with all the other units we need to invest in, I wouldn't go for him, to be honest. But if you did, you can use him, and you have a lower priority at that point on getting Evankel to Orange 4 or Rainbow 5. That's the only difference. If you don't plan on building Evankel, then by any means build a Acraptor. But if you plan on building Evankel, just forget about him. That's my opinion, obviously, but yeah. Then we have Evankel. I gave her B in the mandatory, but mandatory is like 3 green. She should be probably C. To be fair, she's just useless before you get her to orange 4. I said orange 4 because with the resistances in slot 4 and slot 5, she can already survive long enough to cast one special skill. But obviously, you really want the Rainbow 5. You want her to cast a special skill as soon as possible. It will boost her survivability and it will already start destroying the enemy team and boosting the whole team's survivability basically. Because if there are less enemies, you're going to take less damage overall. So that's a no-brainer. That's why she's going to get S+, not fully maxed. Hansung, garbage, not going to talk about that. Warion is one of the hot topics, I would say. A lot of people and a lot of like content creators are overhyping her, in my opinion. But she just dies, guys. To be honest, I didn't use her with resistances in slot 4 and slot 5 because I don't really care. I'm using her to cast the Runda effect. Then she can die, and she does immediately. It's not like she wants to stay alive. She dies. But I wouldn't rate her higher than B+. Really. If you invest in Ignition Weapon, maybe she could be worth A. But it's just really a maybe. And I wouldn't bother, to be fair. You're going to have to run 2 teams. One with the Vankel or a Craptor and the other one with Viol. Because there are a lot of stages with multiple Zahard. Like one Zahard in a team, one Zahard in another, one Zahard in the third one. So you want to more or less split your red DPSs. And yeah, I don't care about the investment on my supports. They're just there for Runda and Doris. That's all. So to me, really thinking about going out of my way to invest in Warion so that she can stay alive and do something is really no. It is really a big no for me. So for me, she's B+ max. A lot of people will disagree, and please let me know if you do so as well. But yeah. Then we have Michael. This is an interesting one. Mandatory for him is going to be 3 red, like for other units we're going to see later. And at that point, that guy with Rihanna is already quite good. You can use him to kill the enemy front line. But the issue and the reason why is not A, like for example, Misang that we're going to see later, is because Misang can kill Urek. That's the use case. Michael cannot kill Zahard. Cannot even kill, like there is no real frontliner that you're really bothered by in the green element or the green color. But there are annoying frontliners in the blue one. That's why Misang is better. Michael could kill the neutral colors like an Ewa in the front line or whatever, like those yellow and purple ones. But Misang can do the same, so it doesn't really make sense to invest in Michael. That's my point. Then we have Romay. Again, I gave her the same rating as Xexia, and I'm going to talk about them both at the same time. It's pretty much the same reasoning with Warion. The only difference is that those two are ranged, so they can survive longer and hopefully provide some support capabilities, while Warion is just going to die. So to me, they are both there just for Runda and Doris. If they die, I don't care, but they are more likely to survive, and they could provide additional benefits. That's why they're ranked higher. That's the only reason. Then we have Viol. Viol starting from 3 green, which is the mandatory tier. He's already an A+ unit to me. You can use him against Zahard easily without any problems. With more investment, he becomes better and better, especially from recommended, which is the 3 red. You can already use him, like starting from 3 blue, actually. You can use him against even some blue teams because he will still deal quite a lot of damage and he can survive with the additional effect from the 3, like from the blue tier. So this guy is really great unit and quite cheap to build, way better than an Evankel, I would say, for most free-to-play players. Xexia already said, so okay, it's fine. Yellowy, she's good. You will use her to buff your Viol at times, just as a flex unit. She's only there for the passive to provide that starting buff to Viol, and that's pretty much all. She gets better with some dupes and some investment, but not really. Let me check the dupes because I think for this one was a weird case. Like Yellowy, okay. The first tier is no dupes. That's why the ranking is this low. It's only C because the buff is low without any dupes. When you have her 3 blue, which is the recommended tier, to be fair, 3 red would be recommended, but she's just a peculiar unit that you don't really want to go above 3 blue probably most of the times. 3 blue, the buff is already quite decent. You can use it. It's fine. And a 3 red, obviously you get the most out of the buff. That's the nice to have. But really, I wouldn't bother that much to, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to just upgrade a Yellowy. So that's all. Let's go for blue. And again, I will try to speed up because, guys, this video is really getting way too long. So Blanc, she's the best support we have in the blue element. Without, like with 3 blue, she's just B. She struggles to survive. She's not going to provide the buff really quickly. So yeah, kind of average. With 3 red, at least the percentages of the skills are already quite good. But the Rainbow 5 is also really good on her because at that point you're going to cast a special skill a lot more quickly. And hopefully your data machine by that point won't be the lowest HP unit, so maybe you can buff an actually useful unit, or at least there's a bit more RNG. That's why I'm rating the Rainbow 5 that much higher than the 3 red, only to have that chance of having the buff not on data machining, basically. Then we have Blarode. That guy at 3 red, which is the mandatory tier, is already beast. He's going with the Rihanna set to be able to reliably remove certain units, certain annoying units, like for example a Viol, or I don't know, whoever is in the backline, an Evan, whatever. So really, really good unit. With recommended and nice to have, it's just going to be better overall. It's going to deal more damage, so he can more reliably kill off those annoying units. That's all. Then we have Datamashini. She's awesome at no dupes because everyone knows she's a stall tank. She can survive for at the very least 10 seconds, a lot more than that, so really good. If you invest on her, the recommended I think is 3 red, probably. Yeah, 3 red. A 3 red, she can also be a sort of DPS. I don't have her myself. I will get her to 3 red sooner or later. But yeah, by that point, she's just also going to deal damage, which is pretty cool. Hatzling and Horiang, terrible. I'm not going to mention them. Kun Ran, I'm always recommending him in general as a DPS. He is really solid, is really good. To be fair, I wouldn't give him A+. I wouldn't rate him higher than a Craptor in terms of actually how good that unit is. But in terms of priority, to me, he's higher priority because he has more use cases. And blue is in more of need of a DPS than red is because red already has Viol. So to me, it's more important to max Kunran than it is to max that Craptor. So that's why he's an A+ and not A. And also he has a ton of survivability. If he's not a main DPS, he can still be there to tank quite a bit. So to me, A+ is deserved. Then we have Kurdan. I'm recommending this guy a lot lately, and I would say he deserves for sure the A when you max him. But starting from, I think, recommended? No, probably recommended is not. Let me check. Okay, yeah, actually from recommended is probably higher than B+, because he's already orange 4, you already have the maxed out resistances, so he's going to tank quite a bit. The reason why the nice to have is higher, because when you have the plus 30 exclusive equipment, and you cast the special skill, you're going to wipe some energy out of the enemy team, which is really helpful. So that's why nice to have is higher. But this guy doesn't have a lot of damage, though it has he has a lot of AoE in his kit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure damage-wise, but definitely is a solid unit. It can tank like crazy in adventure. Not as much as in PvP, but still really, really solid unit. Then we have the Roro. I wouldn't really talk about this guy, to be honest. I'm not using him at all. and I don't hear anyone using him. The kit is just weird. He has some defense shred, the attack buff, etc., but really nothing that worthwhile. Novik, garbage. Really, even with the resistances, is going to die. And even if he survives, the utility is really meh. Nothing really important. Quater and Quant, terrible. Whatever, garbage, skip. Then we have Hurek with no investment. He's probably C. I gave him B just, yeah, why not? But he's definitely pretty much useless. He's going to die at 3 green and is not going to do anything. When you get him to orange 4 and you're giving this lot 4 and 5 with resistances, that guy is a beast. So yeah, it gets even better with Rainbow 5. Obviously, he's going to wipe a lot of units a lot quicker. Pretty much the same logic as a Mankel. So yeah, this rating, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees. Let's move on to the green element. And for this one, Child and Dorsey is a particular one. She is like B plus, might seem like low, but she's this low only because she's used only against basically blue teams and Zahard. Sorry, not Zahard, sorry, Urek. She's okay, even in that scenario, she's okay. She does her job, that's all. So she's not like crazy good carry, whatever, but still, she helps a lot against against those annoying Ureks. But that's pretty much all you will use her for. So that's why she's only B plus. I would say, I don't know. I could give her A. To be fair, guys. Let me know what you guys think. But I don't know. To me, B plus is well deserved. What she deserves. Yeah. Then we have Edin, and this guy's garbage. So let's skip it. And then we have Lore. Okay, this guy, you might be wondering why I gave him the same ranking as Child and Dorsey, and to be fair, I'm also wondering the same. I guess with Rihanna, he can also get rid of Urek. I just haven't tested it. That's why the accuracy is this low. But let me know if any of you guys tried it. If a fully maxed Lore can get rid of Urek, let me know. If you cannot, then definitely B maximum, maybe C plus. If you can, probably even A at that point. So yeah, that's why it's there. Still not sure. Again, the accuracy is quite low. Lozelle, I lowered her ranking before this video, to be fair. Previously, she was A. She's good. She's a really good unit, but I almost never use her. That's why I lowered the ranking. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, if I'm running Zahard, I usually don't care which supports units he gets. If I'm running other teams, usually it's more of an hybrid. So I'm probably running a blank if there is no red team scenario, whatever. So there are better units than her, my opinion. Still, a fully maxed one could deserve A, really, but I'm not going to give her that. Let me know what you think for this one as well. Then we have Miseng. This one I started to talk about recently. And definitely with low investment, which is just 3 red, she's already beast. She can kill the annoying Urek units. Obviously, with more investment, she's going to have more damage, so she can kill Ureks more reliably at higher deficits. That's why it gets a little bit better, but still 3 red is a good amount of investment to deal with that annoying unit. And that's also why Child and Dorsey is a bit lower, because there is a unit that does the job a bit better than her, I would say. At least getting rid of Urek, that is. So yeah. Mulov, garbage. Rachel, yeah, to me she still deserves A, fully maxed. If you do not have her, it's not a big deal, really. There are better units. But still, I find that her damage is more than enough at times. Like, she is really a solid unit. Her survivability at times is great. I find her like tanking against the data machine. For some reason, with the circle, she receives a lot less damage. So yeah, not bad. But in general, yeah, she's just average. Nothing more than that. Obviously, she's awesome for bosses, but again, I don't care about bosses. Then we have Ren, the brand new SSR Plus unit. And this guy is really good. The problem is that there is Zahard in the green team, basically. This guy can get tanky like crazy once you get him to 3 red and you give him slot 4 and slot 5 with the resistances. Both him and the bull would basically be unkillable. The damage is fair, it's not too high, but it's not too low either. So I think A plus is a solid ranking for him. A, yeah. A 3 green, the bull is dying, you are dying, you're not going to deal a lot of damage, so just average. But can still be used. I have him at 3 green and I'm still using him, that's why he's B, a 3 green. But yeah. Shane, complete garbage. I'm not going to talk about her at all. Yeon Hee, she's a good unit. With a lot of investment, she can actually deal tons of damage and provide some good crowd control. I would say she's better than a Child Endorser. If you ever maxed, I would probably go more all in on her. I would give her the LSAT, etc. She is probably going to provide more utility and damage overall. Still, I'm not undermining Sheldon Dorsey. A lot of you guys will be mad at me for this, I'm sure. But still, yeah. I can see her being used, like from floor 30 upwards. I used her a lot. In a lot of teams, I was using her. But still, I'm not too happy about her. That's why. Yuri, garbage, unfortunately, but garbage. Enza hard, no dupes, great stall tank, 3 red upwards, just a monster. Just one note here, I put as overkill the 5 rainbow because I just wanted to put a focus on just saying it should be probably one of the last ones you take to rainbow 5. Is the amount of benefits it gets some, but they're really, really low. It's just going to get additional stats, fine. But casting the special skill earlier with Zahard is useless. You're just going to cast a tier 1 skill. Pretty much useless, if you ask me. That's why I just said overkill. But obviously, sooner or later, you will get him to Rainbow 5. Okay, guys. Again, sorry, it was longer than expected again. Even if I recorded it for a second time, it was way too long. So I apologize, but I hope it was helpful and more insightful for all of you guys. Let me know what you think. If you lasted this long, thank you for the support, guys. If you didn't, it's fine. It's okay. And yeah, I don't know if this video will be released before or after the collab. Will depend on how much information that Marble is going to share with us the following days. So yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. And yeah, that's all. See you guys. Bye.